Being an amputee, it's almost like people just kind of look at you and they dismiss you. And they think, oh, they're here to participate, good for them. It's very they'll like give you the pity clap. And what I really like about track and field is just that like it's a way to prove yourself as an individual.
Welcome back to another episode of the Bench Mob ENT podcast, the best sports podcast in New Jersey. We have a special guest on with us tonight, Beatriz Hatz. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I can't complain. We are thankful that you hopped on with us. For those that are listening, hey, this is way better on YouTube. Go check us out on YouTube, subscribe, share with your baby mother, your uncle, your cousin, everybody. Let everybody get this great content. I want to start off with this. You, I was doing my research. You played basketball, soccer, a lot of sports growing up. Why did you choose track? What stuck out to track, towards you, and why did you have a love for track?
That's a really good question. So yeah, I did have a love for like a lot of other sports because I grew up like very competitive. I have two younger brothers, and so whenever they tried a sport, I had to try it as well, just to kind of one up them, especially growing up with my disability, being an amputee, it's almost like people just kind of look at you and they dismiss you. And they think, oh, they're here to participate, good for them. It's very they'll like give you the pity clap, and that's not what I'm about as an athlete. And so I really enjoy track and field because it's the moment where like I line up, I'm in my lane, and I look to my left and I look to my right. And this is back in high school when I competed with able-bodied athletes, and they would look at me and just dismiss me. But they'll look at the girl on the other side of them and be like, oh, she looks fast, or, she looks strong. And so everybody else already has that respect for each other. I don't have it, and I have to earn it. So once I, finish that race, I come in second or third and I surprise these girls. Now I have their respect. And what I really like about track and field is just that like it's a way to prove yourself as an individual. A lot of the team sports, it's, oh, well, I couldn't done it without, so and so because they had, such a great pass, or, they made an awesome catch. You're relying on your teammates. And I love team sports, but what I really love about track and field is that it's just you out there and you got to prove yourself. And yeah, you have your team, your coach, and your dietitian, your psychologist, your strength and conditioning coach, but like at the end of the day, it's on you if you perform. So that's why I really love it. You could just prove yourself.
That's a great point because I play basketball. Like I think to your point, it's kind of a little bit easier to do basketball in the sense of you have people that you can rely on, and it's people that you also blame to be like, oh, we didn't win because he didn't do what he was supposed to do. She didn't do what she was supposed to do. Sports like track, tennis, that's just you.
Mm-hmm.
You alone. You have to look in the mirror like, what did I do wrong? What did I do right to get to this position? So I think those a little bit harder because there's nowhere you could look but you. You have to look in the mirror, win, lose, or draw, like regardless.
Exactly. You got to take responsibility.
For you, right? So you have competed on the highest level, and I think it was going back to 2017, 2018. You got gold, you got silver. You've been in the Olympics. Did you ever envision, you talking about going back when you was in high school and you look into each side and you come in second place, did you ever envision that it would take you this far where you're representing your country?
No, I didn't. I really didn't think about it. Because I started track and field as a joke in high school. Um, I had a friend who she was like, "Oh, you beat me at softball, at basketball, this and that. I know what I'll beat you at. I'll beat you at track and field." I was like, "Oh, bet. Like we're just running. It is more than just running now that I know." But I joined and I had a lot of fun. We had a bet. Basically, it was whoever made a varsity track meet first got to be the friend group's like most athletic person, whatever. Like you just got named the best athlete in the friend group. And so we're sitting in the gym waiting to get called on to see if we get pulled up to varsity, and I got pulled up. And so it was just really cool, and that's what like kept me going. And sophomore year, going into junior year, was when I decided, oh, I kind of want to like take this a little more serious. A coach had approached me and then asked me about Paralympics. And I was like, you know what? Like, no, I was really in denial of my own disability. I was like, yeah, no, I'm too good to be in there. Like, I'm competing with able-bodied athletes, and then, I show up and I got I got humbled very quickly and realized that yeah, these athletes with disabilities are athletes, period. We don't even have to acknowledge that they're disabled. And so I really got into the Paralympics, and once I started getting into that world, I was like, "Oh man, I can actually do this." Once I got pulled up to represent the United States, I was like, "This is it. This is awesome. I want to keep doing this. This is what I want."
I could imagine that's dope for you to start off as a joke to
Yeah.
now actually representing your country. That's dope. Like I know a lot of people wish they could do a joke and end up end up like that. That's really dope. And you mentioned, you did it to be like, all right, in the group chat, I'm the most athletic out of our friends. But you actually ended up winning in 2018 the Athlete of the Year award. What was that like? How did that feel? What was your emotions when you found out I'm the Athlete of the Year? Like, how did that feel for you?
It was actually really cool, especially like going into high school when I got that award. I was like, "Whoa, this is actually really sick." I didn't like understand the gravity of it, like high school female athlete of the year, like period. I thought that was really cool, and my friends were definitely hyping it up, and I was like, "Oh man, this is actually really sick. Awesome." Like people are acknowledging me as like the actual athlete that I am, more than just oh, the disabled kid that tries the sports. It's like, "Oh wow, no,
Mhm.
she's gotten to an elite level already." So
Yeah,
it was
that's
cool.
that's dope. I a lot of people wouldn't hope to one day to even be in that conversation of athlete of the year. To actually win it is something completely different. Now, you mentioned, how some people treated you and they gave you the pity claps and they gave you the, oh, she's just happy to be here. How did you deal with that growing up? And with that being, your situation and your reality of how people treated you, did you ever have any doubts? And like, how did you deal with the doubts?
Yeah, I didn't have too many doubts because I have a great support system at home. Um, it was always coming from like my parents. My mom is like the sweetest woman in the world, very loving, very you could do anything you set your mind to type of lady. And then there's my dad. And my dad is very competitive and he goes, "Oh, no, you show up and you show them. You show them that you are capable. Don't ever let anybody feel or make you feel like you are less than." And so like having both of them back me up like that really pushed me, and as well as like my brothers, they'd be like, "Hey, I did better than you today." And it's like, "Oh, now that's a sibling rivalry." And just like growing up and like being treated like that in that environment by my family, it made me a lot tougher. And like it was a lot easier to deal with like the bullying and also the just like people just dismissing me as an athlete. So it definitely like fueled the fire to prove myself as an athlete. And I've always felt like I've had to, prove myself not only for me, but also for the people in my community. People with disabilities are always represented as very dependent on others instead of independent. And I wanted to kind of break that stigma. And now that I've made it this far, I feel like I can help pave the way for younger athletes with disabilities. And I wouldn't have thought I would have done all of this back in, high school when I was in denial of my disability. But yeah, I think that was like one of the biggest things was that I was very like, no, I'm not disabled, I'm not disabled. But that also pushed me to prove it to them. Because they saw my prosthetic, this and that. I'd be like, no, 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 no. Like, listen, buddy, like I'm an athlete. I'm an athlete. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna beat you. And then you're either gonna want to be my friend because I'm cool enough to beat you, or you're just gonna be like, dang, I got my butt handed to me by a disabled kid. And either way, it's a win-win for me.
shout out to the family and your parents. A lot of people, I've heard and attested to, like, once they get to that level of high school, collegiate, and pro, a lot of them say, this is light because of what I dealt at home. I had my siblings I had to compete against. My parents helped build up my toughness and my confidence. A lot of people don't have that. So shout out to your family for actually being that for you, because a lot of people do not have that. And when they do, obviously it works out for the better for them, because you look at where you're at right now. It's absolute just successful with no problems. I wanted to ask too, I was reading up on it. I want if you're able to like share with the importance of equipment, because I see in your bio you have the GoFundMe. Some that may not know the importance of the prosthetics and how valuable it is to you actually excelling in your races.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for bringing that up. That is a great question because a lot of people don't understand the difference of all the prosthetics. So the way it kind of works is like I have different prosthetics for different activities. So for like able-bodied people, they can really just like go swing without thinking about it, just, oh yeah, I'm gonna take my shirt off, jump in the pool, or I'm gonna go on this hike, or I'm gonna go on a run, and like it could be a spur of the moment and they could do it. I'm not saying that I can't, it's more so that I need special equipment to do that. So like if I want to go on a run, I can't just leave the house and go on a run with my walking prosthetic. I have a prosthetic for every activity that I need to do. I have a one for like weightlifting, one for running track and field. And so at this level, I use a running blade, which is a J-shaped leg. And while you're representing your country, you want to do the best, right? And the equipment is so incredibly important because now it's not it doesn't matter how hard I work. I could be the hardest working person out there, but if my technology is failing me, then it's just gonna like balance out. It's not even going to work out for me. It's not going to push me ahead. And everything's so technological. It's very like they have to look into the physics of it. Okay, what angle does this blade need to be
Mm.
at so that we could push her out instead of going up? Or how do we get her to jump up instead of out? So I have to have a leg for long jump and a separate one for sprinting because they're two completely different things. So then you have to look at all of these things. You have to make sure you have the right prosthetist. So a prosthetist is basically like, in my kid terms, I used to call them my leg guy. They make the prosthetics, they make the legs, and they are the most important part. If you don't have a good prosthetist, you do not have a good leg. If you don't have a good leg, you're running slow. And like having that equipment is so important because it could really make or break your career and your race. Like, it just comes down to how heavy was it? How heavy was this blade? How, are you getting the optimal like spring out of it? Are you using all of that energy? Is it set up correctly? Is it not? All of these things. And I've been struggling with it for sure for a while. And I've been wanting to go see a like one of arguably the world's best, and see if he can, help me out or give me advice or anything. The best amputees in the world, at least at my level, in my category, in my disability class for the females, is definitely the Dutch. So they know what they're doing, and I'm trying to get out there to learn from them so that I can get better. And that's where I really had to sit there. I was at a crossroads with my pride and my career. You never really want to go over to, a different country, learn from them, but it's also I need to mature and grow up and be like, you know what? Yeah, they're my competitors, but like, what can they teach me? And so I want to learn and be better and be the best athlete. And I think that starts with the equipment.
That's dope. And for those that end up watching this and listening, we just got educated. That was extremely good. And a lot of people, like you said, do not know about that. We will definitely post the link. Hopefully it helps out in any way possible. We will definitely support. We don't have that much
Thank
to
you.
go. We're gonna send something. So definitely hope you get to your goal though, because like you said, that's important of having the right equipment. That can literally separate you from bronze to gold. I'm sure, like that
Absolutely.
much that much detail and that much importance in the equipment and the technology. So hopefully you reach your goal. Hopefully you get that because I'm doing my research. I really feel like you get that, we'll be seeing just gold, 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 gold. Like it'll just come. So hopefully you get that goal. So
Thank you.
outside of no problem, outside of track, right? Who are you? Because track isn't who you are, it's what you do. So who are you outside of track and field?
Outside of track and field, I am low-key an anime nerd. I love anime and so I kind of geek out with my weightlifting coach. So in the middle of like sets, he and I will sit there and talk about either like Naruto or Death Note or Demon Slayer. So we sit there and we'll talk about them and I have a really good time. I love watching those and finding new ones to watch. I love to go hiking, not really actually. I like camping more than anything. Just being outside and like fishing and like playing catch. I still love to throw around a softball or baseball when I can. And I have my dog, so I don't know if it'd be a hobby, but I love to take him outside and play. And I used to paint. I kind of want to get back into that.
Hmm.
And yeah, I love to go shopping.
Are you an in-person shopper or are you online shopping?
I'm an in-person shopper. I gotta see how it fits me, you know?
Okay, I guess that makes sense. I don't like going in person. Give me Amazon, Shein, Fashion Nova, all that. I click the button, send it to me in 2 weeks. I rather that.
I'm too lazy to return stuff if it doesn't fit. That's the thing.
That's a good point because if it don't fit, I just give it away. I don't return it. So yeah, that's a very good point right there. Completely sidebar, right? Because my grandfather, he loved fishing. We went fishing with him a couple times when I was younger, but I don't really remember it. What do you love so much about fishing? Because I've heard multiple of answers. What do you love about fishing?
I like fishing because I honestly think it's because my dad likes fishing. Um,
Mm.
when we would go camping, he would take us and he'd be so excited. He'd get us our own fishing poles. He'd have us separated and it'd be that one time where we'd catch a fish and we're all excited. So then my brothers would drop their fishing poles, come run over. Oh, you got a fish, you got a fish. And um it's just like the excitement of actually catching a fish and then, releasing it. You're like, oh wow, I caught him and he's still alive. I'm like, I'm gonna put him back. And I think I just enjoy it because it's something that I grew up doing with my dad.
That's dope. Shout out to your dad again. Now, for you, right? Growing up, outside of your siblings and your family, were there any people that you looked up to, in general, or on the athletic side? Were there any people or athletes that you looked up to growing up?
I really looked up to Carl Lewis. He's a track and field athlete. He's amazing, sensational. And I'd sit there and I'd watch his videos, and I eventually got to meet him. I've got photos with him,
Hey,
so I was like, "Dang, this is full circle." I met my one of my idols, so I definitely looked up to him. It was cool to meet him, and just like just an athlete that's amazing like that.
that's dope. Especially being that you met him and you got photos and it was a good experience. A lot of people meet their idols and their heroes, and it's not always the best experience. So glad it turned out well for you.
Me too.
So we have one more question before we transition to what we call the fourth quarter, which is a segment where it's kind of fun questions. Our listeners get to know you a little bit better. Before we get to that, last question though would be if you had to give advice to anybody that wants to compete, wants to perform at that highest level, what would that advice be to them?
My advice would really be to sit down with yourself. Either, you need to be alone when you make this decision. You need to sit down and understand the the gravity of the situation. Like this is no small thing. This isn't high school. This isn't, collegiate. If you want to go professional, you need to understand that you're going to be making a lot of sacrifices. I had to sacrifice a lot of time with my family. I had to move states. I had to, start over. You're going to leave your friends, you're going to leave your family. You're not going to party, you're not going to drink, you're not going to, you know, have this party movie style life that you would think most 20-year-olds have. This is something that you need to be able to give up. A lot of people will have a very strict diet. Are you willing to do that? What are you willing to do? Like, if you're willing to do what it takes and willing to sacrifice to get there, do it. And don't let anybody stop you. But if you're having doubts and you think that this is too hard and you're not mentally strong enough to pull through, then leave it alone. But if you can push through, there's always the ups and downs. There's always the really tough times, the bad season, the injury. This is a mental game with yourself. You need to be able to be your biggest hype man and push yourself and know, okay, I made these sacrifices for a reason. It's going to work out for me in the end. You got to be the biggest advocate for yourself and really just understand what you're going to be doing.
Sacrifice, sacrifices. All the greats you hear them talk about it. Kobe wasn't able to go party. I wasn't the best friend. I wasn't the best father. All these different things for greatness. Like, and to your point, like you said, you're not willing to do that, which is fine. And then you have to have, like you said, that honest conversation with yourself. I'm not willing to not eat meat on Fridays. I'm not willing to put down tequila. Like, if you're not willing, it's okay, but don't fool yourself in thinking that, all right, I'm gonna go pro, but not make the necessary sacrifices to actually be successful.
Yeah. And there's always like a time and a place. There's always off season. There's always this, there's always that. It's finding a balance.
Mm.
And a lot of people just can't do that. They get overwhelmed. Oh, I'm having too much fun. I'm having so much fun. I don't want to do this anymore. It's you have to have a lot of like restraint.
Restraint, self control, all are needed in life in general. But if you're talking about professional athletes,
Oh, absolutely.
even the more. Now we are in the fourth quarter segment. We always start off with this, no matter the guest. What is your favorite meal to eat?
Ooh, like homemade or can I go out?
You could give us both, homemade and going out.
Okay, homemade is definitely lasagna. I was scarred
Mm.
down some lasagna, like Garfield. I love it. Going out, sushi for sure. I love sushi.
Is there a specific kind of sushi, California roll, spicy tuna, or is there specific sushi that's your go-to?
Mm, not really. I actually really like to go to sushi spots and try different things. I like the like sashimi rolls. I like, like what's the catch of the day or different stuff like that.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. And yes, lasagna, hands hands down. Layered goodness. I
Hmm.
love some lasagna. If you could possibly have any other career outside of being a professional track and field star, what would it be?
I have like two answers. So one, I'm gonna go to school for this, but I think I would want to just be a sports broadcaster, stay in the world of sports and meet other athletes. I really love baseball, I love football. I think I would want to like report for any of that.
Hmm.
And then on the other side of things, which I mean may or may not be as realistic, but people didn't think I was gonna be a professional athlete anyways, so I would want to do more modeling. So I do like modeling, but it's more for like athletic side of things. I've done stuff for like Adidas and Lululemon, but I think I would really want to get onto like a runway. It's something I've always wanted to do.
Hey, we will be paying attention. If we see 5 years from now, 2 years from now, shoot, next year you modeling, I'm gonna just post a clip like she said she was going to do it. She told y'all, and she did it. I don't think if you put your mind to it, I don't think anybody should doubt it. Being the fact that
Yeah.
you know where you got to this far, hey, you can do it if you put your mind to it. Obviously, if it's a part of the plans of what God has for you, even the better. So we'll be watching. I'm very you've put your mind to everything that you've done so far. So I wouldn't be shocked seeing you on the way. And I'll be
Thanks.
like, oh, she said that on our show. I knew it was gonna happen. So I
Thanks.
didn't have this on my list, but you shared this. So I have to know, and I know our listeners would like to know, especially some of my co-hosts. They are huge anime fans. What are your three favorite animes? If you could give us three, even if it needs to be five, what are your favorite animes?
Okay. Well, my top, people can come at me, don't care, is Naruto. Do not mess with my boy Naruto. I don't care how many times they show that swing. I love that show. And um I mean, I've got the little Funko Pops. I've got Kakashi and Itachi. I got everybody, okay? So I really love that. Promise Neverland, I really like. It caught me off guard the first episode. I was like, "Oh my gosh." So I just really love that. And then probably the last one, I don't think a lot of people would say is like their favorite, but I really love One Punch Man just because I can relate to how sarcastic he is and how funny he is. I'm like, I love that.
I love that. I went to my Tap Man. So the only anime I really watched was Naruto, right? Went to
Hmm.
my Tap Man. I'm waiting to go. He's like, yo, you ever seen One Punch Man? I don't even know what that is. Turned it on, hooked ever since. I'm like, oh yeah. I love it. Doesn't come up often enough. It's so
It
underrated.
doesn't. It doesn't get the love it deserves.
It's so underrated. One Punch Man is literally one of my favorites all
Really,
time. Literally. I'm getting tattooed and it's like it's so good. I didn't feel the pain that was happening. Like it was
yeah.
One Punch Man is the show right there.
It is. It's just, and I like that it's funny. A lot of animes are just like straight serious. I'm like, no, One Punch is actually really funny. I'll sit there and giggle.
Fact. If you could choose five people that you would have a meal with, who would it be?
Ooh, this is a good question. Okay. I think Carl Lewis, I would love to have dinner with him again. Um, Ray Allen, he's a great guy. I met him and I would love to just pick his brain and sit there and talk to him. Tyler, the creator, I just feel like I just want to be his friend. I feel like he's so funny. I just would want to be his friend for sure. Um, Drake, because who doesn't love Drake? And don't come at me, but Michael B. Jordan, for sure.
Oh, I'm being that he's from Jersey too. I love Michael B. Jordan. Like, I'm not gonna come at you. I argue with my co-host all the time. I don't care what nobody say. He at my top list of actors now. If whatever he's in, I'm going to go see it.
Oh yeah,
Whatever he's in. I don't care if the movie didn't say I don't Michael B. Jordan in it.
he's
You
in it. I'm watching.
you gonna see Tone there for sure.
Yep.
Complete sidebar, and we'll close out with this because you mentioned Drake, and it's been mixed reviews on the most recent album. What did you think of the most recent album for all the dogs?
Don't talk to my man like that. I love it. I actually I know people are gonna hate on me for that, but like so many people really dragged his album like that. I'm like, you just you don't appreciate the art, okay? If you don't appreciate the art or the man, leave him alone. But Drake's like my top artist. I really liked his album. It took me a little bit to kind of get on it, but
Mhm.
um you gotta listen to it with your speaker by yourself, like in the car or something. Uh, I feel like if you listen to it for the first time in like a gym or like something like that, it ruins the experience. Don't do that. You know?
But it doesn't do it justice.
Exactly, exactly. Because I don't know. He's got a few albums that people just like hated on at first, and now it's like,
They listened to it the second and the third time, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is great. Yeah,
yeah, that's how I was with Honestly Nevermind. I love that album.
literally. So we are going to post this and tag all of them, and hopefully we could get you a DM or something from Tyler the Creator, and y'all have friends after that. So hopefully we're going to tag them, and we'll see if somehow we could get him to get his attention. You know, he's a
Yeah, that would be sick.
busy guy. I know he's busy and gets a lot of mentions. So, but we're gonna try. We're gonna shoot for the stars for that one.
You know, it's worth it. It's worth a shot.
Worth a shot. Again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to hop on with us. Bench Mob, y'all know the vibes. If you stay ready, you don't gotta get ready. We out. Peace.